Hi everyone, welcome back. Okay, we're continuing on. Now I think I'm going to do some real casual pansies. And I've painted pansies tons of different ways. From stroke pansies to Paul Delongpre's pansies. I've done them in watercolor and in the acrylic. And all the way up to really Couchoir. Eugene Henri Couchoir's very casual pansies that we did up in the S104. There's just a lot of variations. So I'm going to take all of those together. We're going to make it kind of casual, kind of fun, build some pansies and very relaxed edges. Let's give it a go. Okay, so here's my board. Same thing as I've done before. Same base coat, color, everything. I'm going to do it, I think, vertical this time. Or excuse me, horizontal this time. Now here's my palette from the last painting, the last lesson with that yellow rose. I'm just going to go ahead and use that. We'll just build some more color. Let's just, I love sometimes to take some of the dirty colors that I have from here. And if you don't have anything dirty, just make a gray from some blues and violets and a little yellow here. Make yourself some pretty grays. Let's put a little extender and stuff in it. And we'll start working these through our backgrounds here. Let's put a bit of light. I like these grays. Sometimes I'll add some water to really thin it out and just wash that over the surface there like that. But let's get just a touch more color into this and a bit of our light so we can streak some other colors through. And this is the way I like to paint, especially if I'm going to have blues into the pansies, which I'm not real sure yet. I'm building this with you, showing you how I practice stuff. Right now what's going on in my mind is I'm just adding interest to my backgrounds. I look for warms and cools, and I have some nice warms down here. So I get some cools down there. Maybe light's coming in from this direction here, so let's make sure that we do express a bit of light here into the background back here. I do like to sometimes pull that through and establish that right back there like that. That's kind of nice. So you get a little bit. Now if I make it more of a light direction, you're adding energy of movement through your painting, and so sometimes I will do that as well, just like that. Back down out here, let's take some of our pine green and our burnt sienna, some of our favorite colors here. Let's add that right into our darks, right into some of this area right up into the front here, where we'll underneath the pansies here, where what colors we're gonna do underneath them. Maybe a bit more green in that burnt sienna, and we'll drag some very specific pulls of color here out like this, and drop these down like that, pull them across a bit. I like this modeling kind of look that you get out here. Sometimes I'll take the edge of that paper towel and use that to soften out that exchange right out there. And I look for this kind of just color and movement and interest and stuff through the background. Sometimes I'll even put stuff on with my paper towel, grabbing through, and you can just kind of grab some of this and push and pull this through like this. It just gives interest. It's different, and you know, of course, we'll cover some of this up with our painting, but that just gives you good modeled interest to your painting here, and you know, we'll build from it. So that's kind of interesting little background. Let's stick with our let's start these pansies by sticking with our 3/4 inch brush, and we'll set the for ease here for right now. Let's set a lighter pansy that's going to be right up here into the front. Maybe come down this way. And I'm just going to kind of almost a circle for the pansy itself right there. Just some movement of the color here. And coming in. And we'll do the face and all those other things and the different colors and everything. Maybe to the back, we'll soften this out. And let's put another maybe turned one right back up there like that. So just an idea of one that's kind of turned away. Let's do a couple of yellow ones, yellow versions of yellows. First we'll put a lot of burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of our violets into that, so that tones that down So we'll have an idea of one sitting here. This is kind of how Kuswa would start some of his pansies and stuff, and maybe there'll be another yellow one right in here. Maybe we see a lot of it, maybe we don't. So we'll look into more of that later. But let's grab a little bit of light and hit that light side where that one would be, right up there. We'll let that just sit there for right now. Very casual, just boom, maybe sits right up there like that. Very, very casual look at it there. Now, it's always pretty to put some darker ones in there. And one of the things I do is I'll print off all different kinds of photos and stuff of pansies and have them around. There's lots of references you can go out and grab and stuff, but a little bit of these violets are kind of nice to have in here, and kind of break up our yellows and some of those other colors. You could also do blues, so maybe we'll have, but we can have some of these into our throat colors and stuff of our pansies as well. So, but I'm looking at color as I'm pushing this around. I don't want to spot it too perfect, but I'm looking at some of those different things. And let's get some of this, maybe a little violet and that yellow and stuff right over here, and let that just trail off over here. Maybe that's going to be another one off over there. And let's drop that brush into the water there for a minute, and let's go in and break up some of this with some greens. Now this will be greens and burnt siennas, some of our ideas of our leaf movements. Not making leaves yet, just putting in some ideas of some movements. Maybe we can drop some lines here that would be suggestive of stems and stuff here. That will come this way. Some of this might come on here. Just use the chisel of the brush like that. That's what gives you that real casual edge. Here, I just use the brush very flat like that, and we'll put some movement back here. Okay, some movement of our leaves, and just take those off edge there just a bit. It's a building process. That's what I like to do. I like how this is coming too. It's a building process, and I'll look to separate some of the pansies by putting some green in between them there. But I really like this full light one up here in the center here. But we'll have other leaves, other leaf shapes and stuff. We might, put a few of those out, and we can even put a little bit of extender into that. Sometimes I like to do the stroke with the extender, not to keep it wet, but that it slides a little different than the water does. It makes the paint still keep a little bit of body to it, which sometimes, boy, I like that before I touched it a second time. Get that movement there, that's better. See, I like that little bit of difference of movement there going out, and that looks nice. We can take a nice toned yellow, just a kind of a yellow back here, maybe a little yellow, green, something's back there, kind of color in there. What is it? We don't know. It's something back there. And push that. Now, let's come in and let's cool down. Let's go violet, cool down right into here. I'm going to go violet, blue, and red violet. And then I'm going to gray that with some yellow. Now, because these are beautiful colors into the grays of the pansies. Let's push some of that right in and out of that center of that one there. We'll push this one into some of the back petals of this other one back here, maybe a little too dark, so we'll just lighten that up a bit here. Okay, so there we got that one. That's pretty good. But there's beautiful colors, see, and we can move around. You can take those colors, move them around, grab a little bit, grab another little touch of that and hit it into another, because pansies come in all different kinds of colors, and you just might see them moving through your composition in many different ways. Let's go up here and build some of our light, and let's add just a touch of warmth to it. this will help gray down that a bit there too. So a bit of our warmer color over here into some of these violets, and it grays it down. But let's build a little bit more of the back, like the back petal here. Let's build the idea here of some of those side petals here, just real quick, casual here, in and out there like that. It's kind of nice, and maybe a little bit more light, and we'll build that front, pulling out that front part of the pansy there, pulling out like that. There we go, just like that, and you get that nice. And let's a bit of that light in there is just kind of nice. Let's put a blob of that right out here. And I don't want to be like back here. I don't want to be too specific with the painting of this pansy back here. I want this one to kind of fold and go around a little bit, and because it's just setting back there at a a little different, so I don't want to get too specific with it. Maybe a stroke or so of light right up here to say there's the light hit on it here, right like that. And of course, when we start to give them the face, that's when they'll really pop out. So that one, and let's just fracture this edge right in there just a bit. That just fills in that pansy a bit. Let's take some red violet here, right down here, just a nice clean little spot on your palette, and let's pull some of this red violet out. Now this is what your number 4 would work really well, or that filbert would give you a different look as well. Let's go to our number 4 here and just pull out and slide over onto the chisel of the brush here as we paint. We're going to paint back and forth with light and dark here for just a minute as we move in and out of these colors in and out of the pansy here. And we'll pull some out here. We want to vary. We want this varied here. So let's do that, and then maybe get into some of this violet, blue violet and light with our number 4 here, and take just a bit of that out a bit like that, and work the light back and forth, a few strokes of this. See, that models up the color there and just makes more shimmery interest to your pansy. That's what you want to do. You want to break up the solidness of it with some other color. See, just lightly, just use the tip of the brush here and just break up. Grab some other little colors there. Just kind of break that up. Let's grab some additional dark, a few real dark strokes though of this color. Really pops that face forward there. Really sets a nice face onto that one there like that. And again, let me rinse some of that out again. I'll grab some light white color and maybe just model into that just a touch here with some of my light touches, so that the front of this pansy here really gets this texture here, very much like, and you can touch that in and out with your finger there, but work the two, overlap the two a bit, like maybe touch right here and pull in just a bit, and then take some of that red, tap into some of that red and pull back out. Tap into more red. You have to tap in more red because you've picked up white after you go there. See the white you pick up? So you tap that off and pick up some more red and just increase that red in there like that, and you'll get a different look there to that. And that looks pretty good. Let's fold over. I work the pansies a bit more than like I do the roses and stuff. Sometimes I don't. I mean, but you know, sometimes I do. Sometimes I like to really give them more of a pristine petal shape, and sometimes I really like to paint them very, very casual, like a couchoir. So those look nice as well. So lots of different variations. Let's express our light though right back up here. That's that nice light that hits there. So that's kind of a real pretty one, and we'll put some lighter yellows. Tap this in for a second. We'll put a bit of yellow right there into that center and around, and then we'll tap a little brighter yellow right in there. Work that yellow in and around that pansy center there. And there we go, just like that. And see, that's starting to look fairly nice. I like that cool color, so I might add just a bit more of that cool and shadowy color coming down this way as I'm heading to that shadow down away from that light there. And we can always negative paint to pop something up you know, a bit more, so you can always negative paint something there. Let's get the edge here of this petal right up in front of that one here, and yeah, it is kind of pretty different here. Here we go. And now you can get more of the true, you know, pansy, you know, face shape here by dropping this in like that and then pulling it out and down, and that'll put that front petal more of the shape of that pansy that everyone looks at. I don't always do that. You know, it drops out like this and then right back up and in, and that just puts up that petal. I don't always do that, though. I mean, sometimes I like these pansies to just really be blurry, you know, not perfect or precise. So lots of different ways. But we can just drop that in and drop that right in like this, right up towards that face there. And that's what gives you the real pansy feeling to it. Let's grab a bit more of our violets here. Drop that in. Maybe we'll take a blue in the violet here, but a little bit more on the blue side. Maybe not quite that dark. Just a bit of that here. For this one back here, we'll let some of these colors, see, that's a pretty exchange of colors in there. Maybe a touch of a red violet in there too. So you go blue to a red violet, that's kind of pretty there. Bit of that in that one there. And get some of that extra dark color out of there. Let's add a touch of the yellows there into the center of that face of the pansy. Sometimes I put the, you know, and this is where, I mean, if you want to be really precise, you could use your little number 4 round and really put that edge in, maybe up on the center one here. You know, when you're painting and you're painting casual, you really only need one that is really shaped well as the pansy, and then the rest of them just kind of off shape a little bit and more casual, and you know that will give the feeling of the pansy. So something like that, see, that'll, because this one is so perfect it already says pansy back there. Now that's what you get that's where you get your casual nature of your painting. You know, and that's the hardest thing to do, is just to do something like that and leave it. Let's put a bit of light back here and push that in and out a bit there, and just leave that, maybe leave that one sitting back there. That's kind of nice. Let's put a little burnt sienna and some red violet here right into this one. We'll drop some of this dark in, and maybe this one just sits over onto its side here. We'll drop that color in. Let's go back to our yellows, that pretty yellow and light. This might be that front edge of this one coming in like this, and just fading and dropping away there like that. Let's drop this front light in here Jump onto that one. Maybe a bit of an edge here. Just let that one kind of sit out there like that. And, you know, we might even curve some of these red violets here out like that to make the petal look like it's bending up and out. I mean, going down, swooping there. Like that. Now, that would be a good one for a darker face. Maybe let's go back to maybe a bit of our blues into that face here. So we'll drop a bit of that in there. And yeah, that's kind of a pretty color. Maybe a bit more violet in it. Here. There we go. Pretty colors in there. Pretty colors into that one there. And get rid of that so I can go back to my yellows. Let's go a little burnt sienna. Rinse that out a bit better here. And a bit of my yellows. Let's go a touch light and redirect that face up and in just a bit there. And here we go, a little more color. In and out. That's where you get the prettiest colors of them, in and out. You know, working them back and forth. I don't want to get too many lines here. I'll put some of those colors on here. And then let's just pull out. Redress the brush. Pull out. Redress the brush. Why? Because I'm picking up yellow each time, see? So I redress the brush and pull out. There, like that. So we get those different little looks there. So, you know, get the modeling, all that color differences. Let's drop a spark of a darker red in here. Maybe there's a different little pansy back behind there. We can also drop and break some of that up with some green as well. Let's. You could use negative painting to shape up any of them, but don't shape them up perfectly. We want some of these to really go, you know, to be very suggestive. Now, I feel that this one's light and this one, it might be a bit too light here, so just going to put a little violets and stuff over this and shove this one back. And see, that puts more light in my composition right up to the front. I'm looking for light too, so I'm going to take some Hansa and some white here. Redress and pick up some additional light right up here into this front one here. There, like that. Now, I don't like those edges quite so severe like that. I like them kind of blurry. I like the blurriness of that. So I'll just stick my finger in the painting there for a minute and edge those a bit. I like that sitting right up on top of that one, that white one, just a little bit on top. It's kind of nice. Let's get some yellow, maybe a touch of orange. We haven't used that in a while. Put a bit of that orange color there into the center of that one. Maybe a light little touch as well can go in there, and just add a bit. Let's go back to our bigger brush now. So I'll rinse that color out of that one, and out of that number 4 we'll go back to our bigger brush, and we'll paint a little softer, grayer, softer colors back here. Just put in some colors, some suggestions of colors and movements here. We don't need a tremendous amount of stuff. I want to give suggestions of stuff, and you know, just all the other colors we have now, we'll start carrying those through, and maybe a nice light here, some type of light color. Maybe a blob here of light, like a turned up petal type thing there. Don't know. moving that through. So some different angles of, this one might even get a little bit more light because it's angled upward to the light there. And that looks kind of nice. Let's take a bit of our red, just a bit of that red violet, and put that in there. Maybe that one just pushes that back a bit. It's kind of pretty. Let's take a darker red, maybe a bit of our yellows into that. So that's kind of now you're just moving some color and maybe giving a bit of shape to something, but more likely than not, you're just moving color around, which through here into shape, into maybe some petals or something like that, but not perfect ones, so that they kind of disappear around here. They just kind of, you get the idea that maybe that's a petal or so, but it doesn't need to have the perfect shape. We already have the main ones done here, so we don't need any, too much more here. We'll drop that in, push that in and around. Let's get kind of a orangey kind of one back here coming out this way. Maybe there's put some of that color in. So really, the painting is these kind of pansies that are right here. So the rest of them are just kind of nothing. That's how I like to present them. Let's put in some buds. Like there's a little bit of a bud right here. Pansy bud. Just some colors going into it here. Not opened up. So there, like that. Just maybe a bit of the light here. Push it around a bit. Just a nice. So it doesn't have to have a whole lot of stuff in it. It's just an idea. Here, we'll just put a few little touches out here. Maybe they're buds or some that are just starting to open up. This is where they get pretty out here, and the viewer will turn that into a flower or a little pansy or something. The viewer's eye will do that. So you just put out that bit of light there. Let's go out and touch into some green there. Touch in like a calyx leaf into that, and push that way. Let's put some burnt sienna with that green so we can warm it, change the color up a bit, so not all your leaves are exactly the same. Here, let's push some of that out here. And some other colors, let's take a look. Maybe we push in some yellow or something back in here. Maybe that's just going to be like a turned one or something right here. And yeah, that might, just it pulls your eye there away. I'm always looking at that, the movement and stuff that I'm presenting into these paintings, into this stuff. And so this is kind of like one that's, we'll do it a little softer here, pulling this back pansy petals back this way, letting them fade off here. This is kind of like a turned one there. See, it's just kind of turning out. We can have a little more color here. There, but I kind of like that. Let's put a touch of the red or even that blue from the other one, that violet-y color. So a little red violet and a little blue. And just pull out maybe a little bit more red violet here. Yeah, see, it's just kind of like a little turned one there. And that sits in there pretty nice. Now, if you were a Couchoir or, what you would do is you'd start filling in with little leaf touches and colors. Here, let's start some of those. We've got yellow greens and blue greens. some of your green touches, to fill in leaf shapes, stuff here. So we have some of those we can just kind of drag on here and just kind of model through, touch through. It might be good, for you to switch over to your number four, flat, and do some. Or if you find you're getting everything all the same, flip over and grab your little filbert, because that one will make different shapes of leaves. I like to use just different edges of my brush. My favorite thing is to paint with as large a brush as possible in presenting an area, so that I don't I don't make things perfect. It's hard to make things perfect when you have a big brush. So I exploit that. I promote that by using as big a brush as possible when I'm painting something, so that I can't get perfect. We'll just tap some of this little lighter greens around here. Get some of those out there like that. It's pretty little pansy light. And then, this really want to build up front textures here. So let's get some light right into our real light texture, and put some of that right into the front. This is where they really get pretty, because they get this heavy-duty texture there, especially right up here onto this front one. Here, right onto that light, big texture right up here, right onto that light there. Pull that down. Texture painting does so much, when you're in for yourself as an artist in painting this, getting the textures in there. Let's get this light. Let's get a bit of yellow here, a bit of that orangey kind of color into that. Let's get a nice light, real light hit here. Just model that up a bit, some heavy color, and hit that right there with the texture. And do almost like Eugene Pettit. Some of you that studied some of the other stuff, just do a few little hits of that light around. Slightly different there. That's pretty. Let's get that yellow. Let's come over here to a clean spot, kind of. Doesn't have to be ultimately clean. That's where you get some of your modeling of color. Let's get that light yellow. Light, and hit that texture onto that one. There we go. Push that in and out a bit. It really gets that nice texture on that one there. You can orange this out, or change some of that up a bit, but I kind of like the real casual nature of it, and some of the dirty brush colors that you pick up as you start to do other shapes on it and everything. So I'll let some of that just go, and let's get a little bit of that violet. Just kind of shape that in there. That's kind of pretty. That one works kind of well. It could have a bit of this light, just kind of identifying the other side of that petal there. And out to here, it's like, do you do something there? Let's just make a dirty color and maybe identify the other side or so of a petal here, and maybe a bit more dirty little red coming out here. That's kind of good. See, it's just turned there, and kind of a pretty little painting. Let's take just a little touch of our yellows and add that in there. Nice little smiley face. Those yellows. That's kind of good. Now, looking at this, I'm going to go back to my 3/4 inch brush here to finish this up, and come right back into some of my light areas, maybe a little bit of my lighter blue or lighter blue violet here. I might have to squeeze out a little more white here, which I'll probably do because I want a nice light. You know, this is getting kind of light over here, way over here. But let's just squirt out a little bit more white. And when you're, you know, if you're done for like this palette and you're done with it, model the color all up and go base some more boards. That's how, don't throw the color away. Just go model it up and go base some more boards and stuff. And that just does a lot. Now see, that's kind of a pretty color there. And this is what I like to do, is put some of those colors right there into the backgrounds of these. And let's just drag this right across into this corner, right down here, right through this flower, and then lift it in and out of that pansy right there. Just lift it in and out. Let it even destroy some of the edges of it there. And it kind of pushes it back. Now you can add a little more dark down here, so you can change up that color a bit. Just push that around, and some of the dirtiness on your finger from the other pansies just kind of gets in there. Let's put a streak of this light right down there. Just kind of model that in. There, like that. See, I like to do that. I love the contemporary, casual look of this. Let's dirty this up a bit and just drag this through here, right through like that. Maybe through here just a bit. Here. It just changes it. So, you know, here where I might be, or have the feeling that I'm just a little heavy, maybe just a touch, I might take a dirty version of this and just, you know, touch in through here just a bit. And it just adds that lightness of that ground back in there, or that background in there, fills it up a bit. And, you know, I like that light energy sometimes coming through here into something else, here like that, just pulling through. Just looks great. Let's get just a little bit more of that light and just drop that right on down there. Here like that. Like that color, and I like that movement of it, and the background there is kind of nice. There, little bits of that light and movement through. I even like the heaviness down here, and I might even just take a little bit more of a green, blue-green, maybe a bit of the burnt sienna into that. And let's just drag a little bit back in through here. Just a little bit. Use the edge of chisel of your brush just to break up some of the brownness of that color and push that other color, the blue colors and stuff in. But that, see, that works, and that gives you your other. Now you can pop this up if you want to have, you know, a little bit more of a definitive pansy shape up there. Let's grab some of this yellow and a little bit of our light here. Right up here like this, if you want to, you know, give a little bit more of a definitive shape as it's going right up there. That puts one right there. That's your call. I mean, doesn't really need it. But you might take your smaller brush and with some of this and bring some of that light right down into this center area. That's very contemporary, to bring that light down like that. There's a lot of artists that do that today. Just travels that light into your painting a bit more. You know, or the Dutch wouldn't do that. They would put another flower and another flower and another flower. Contemporary artists today do that a bit more. I like to do that as well. Travel that light in just a touch more here, but leave it kind of mottled up there. Just little touches of that there. That's kind of pretty. Gives you a completely different look. Let's I like all this. I want to deepen my contrast of my reds right here, so maybe have a bit more of a red, maybe even into some of that Naphthol red light with that, so I get a little more spark of a red that we can hit into some of this. Look at that. Look at what that does into that painting there. Those reds. Changes that up. See, it's color. It's color. Let's cool that right there with some red violet. It's color. You don't need to paint it into the shape of a perfect pansy or anything like that. We don't need that. We have that. We have shapes and stuff there, but we can push some of that around. That's nice. Let's use that with just create a softer orange kind of color here, a little darker. Maybe fill this one out a bit here, a bit more, that one that's turned down here. There, like that. That's kind of pretty. And I think that's kind of all I'm going to do. I could tap in a few more little light leaves and stuff, but I think for the most part, that is pretty much done. It's just a little touches of them, of some of this through here. Yep, just grab some of those greens, vary the tones a bit, and that looks kind of pretty. Down through, kind of pretty. You can really, take this like right down here, and just a soft, put a little water extender with this, just a little soft color like this coming down. Like maybe there's another one back here that's kind of ghosty, just continuing on down through here, and that looks kind of nice. I like the ghost looks of some of those coming through, but that gives you a nice casual pansies. Okay, so it's kind of fun. You see, it's a building process, and you change them all up. You don't need to make them into the perfect pansy shape. Just one or two, and the rest just casually deposit that color. Take some confidence to do it, and don't get them all too light. The habit is to get them all too light, so try not to do that. That took a little bit longer than some of our other lessons and stuff. It's kind of like the length of the bird, but it is different because they're all a little different. All right, there's your pansies. We'll do a couple more lessons because these are kind of fun. All right, I'll see you on another one.